Que PASA YouTube, SixftHax here. How's it going, everybody? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, to a Wi-Fi battle. Now, for those of you who may have missed my upload from yesterday, which was a quick little video discussing the fact that I had a new YouTube subscriber Discord, I did mention in that video that I was going to be getting back to the grind of things, and I will be looking for battles way more often and uploading Wi-Fi battles way more often as well. So if you guys would ever like to Wi-Fi battle me on Ultra Sun and Moon, my Discord is down in the description. In the battle chat is where I normally go and do an ad here or an ad everyone, letting y'all know when I am looking for battles, and I'll make a list and I'll get those battles done. But I will be doing that way more often, and Wi-Fi battles will be coming back as well as hopefully daily uploads. Definitely daily uploads for sure if everything goes smoothly. So if you guys are excited, make sure to hammer arm that thumbs up button down below. Answer the comment question of the day, which was at the beginning of the video, will also be right at the end of the battle here. Thank you guys for your support, and we can get back to being at 100% on the channel. So this was a UU battle I had against Astra off of my Discord. I got this Mega Venusaur from my boy Harris. It's awesome. It's offensive Mega Venusaur, which is really cool. I've used Mega Venusaur in Ubers, I've used it in OU, and now that it's UU, it's turned out to be a giant threat and amazing in the UU tier, so I definitely want to use it a bit more. But going into this game, the biggest threats I saw on her side of the field were going to be the potential Double Dance Cobalion and the Chandelure, depending on what set it is running. Also, if I lose my Primarina, then Hydreigon just kind of clicks Dracos, and that's really bad, or just spams Dark Pulse, which is still really bad. So speaking of Hydreigon, I let off with mine thinking she would lead off with either her Mega Venusaur, Hippowdon, or her own Hydreigon, as she did end up leading off with the Hippowdon. I U-turned into my Rhyperior, expecting her to go for the turn 1 Stealth Rocks, but she ends up going for the Toxic, probably expecting me to bring in my Primarina, which does make sense because if I was offensive Primarina and I burn or just weaken the Empoleon, Specs Primarina just kind of goes ham on her squad. So it did make sense that she did want to try and Toxic there. As she ends up poisoning my Rhyperior, she is going to end up getting up her Stealth Rocks here as I bring in my own Mega Venusaur after I got up my rocks, and she did end up Toxicking me there. So this is really nice because as soon as I Mega Evolve here, I can just kind of freely fire off either a Sludge Bomb or go for the Hidden Power Fire. I figured Hidden Power Fire was going to be my better play because I catch either the Mega Venusaur or the Cobalion for super effective damage, regular Venusaur before it Mega Evolves for super effective damage, because Thick Fat doesn't nullify. Well, it's still super effective, but the damage isn't halved, if you get what I'm trying to say. And then I could have caught Cobalion too, or just got off neutral damage on the Empoleon, but it turns out that I'm dumb and I bred my Mega Venusaur wrong. So I don't even have Hidden Power Fire, and this actually kind of bites me a little bit here. But in the long run of the game, it's not entirely game-changing. Plus, it was my fault, so I should pay for it somehow. Because if I had the Hidden Power of Fire, I might have actually been able to put her directly in range of where this Sludge Bomb would have knocked her out. So unfortunately, because I did have the wrong Hidden Power of Fire, my Sludge Bomb is not strong enough to finish her off, and she gets off a huge hit on my Mega Venusaur as I knock her Mega Venusaur out. However, though, this is not entirely too bad because I can potentially synthesis on the Empoleon or on the Hippowdon. Even if it's in sand, I'm still going to be getting back some type of HP, only 1/3 as opposed to 1/2, so it's not that big of an issue, I think. As she brings in the Cobalion, I'm hoping and praying this is not Double Dance or just not Swords Dance in general, but of course, it turns out to be Double Dance Cobalion. And because this thing can legitimately sweep me if it's Z Iron Head after a +2, I decide to make a very risky gamble here, and I'm going to pop my Z move. The reason why I think this was so risky is because she had two pretty solid switch-ins to my Reuniclus in the forms of Hydreigon and Chandelure. If she brought in Chandelure here on my Z Focus Blast, I basically waste my Z move and she still has Cobalion in the back. Thankfully, though, she stayed in, and then if I tried to see fighting the Hydreigon, yeah, I get rid of Hydreigon, but then Cobalion can still come in later, Double Dance, and potentially sweep me, because nothing on my team would have been able to do anything in return to the Cobalion, and unless I burned it with my Primarina, then there was literally nothing I could do. So the fact that I did make the risky play there of going for the Fightinium Z Focus Blast, ensuring that Cobalion was O-code, is really huge for me in this match. Now, that is one terrifying thing I no longer have to deal deal with. As in comes the Chandelure, I decided just to sack off my Rhyperior because Rhyperior is not going to be doing too much in this game after getting up rocks, honestly. And if I can keep up offensive pressure, I might be able to stop her from defogging. So it turns out that she has Calm Mind Chandelure, and if that is sub Calm Mind and she does end up behind a substitute, I might as well just click the X button. Like Cobalion, this thing can definitely sweep me once it sets up, so I need to be very, very careful around this Chandelure here. As I bring in my Hydreigon, where you do not mess with threats, ladies and gentlemen. Rule number 1 is get up Stealth Rocks. Rule number 2, you don't mess with threats. So I'm gonna go straight for the Dark Pulse. I am not playing around. That Chandelure can just bend me over at this point if it has the Energy Ball or some type of way to deal super effective damage to my Primarina. So I end up hitting the incoming Hippowdon. Turns out that she's very Spadef bulky, so I'm gonna just bring in my Reuniclus here. I didn't want to bring in Primarina because she has shown Toxic before. At least by bringing in my Reuniclus, I can absorb the Toxic, and then hoping that she tries to switch into either her Chandelure or her Hydreigon, which most likely would be Chandelure because she knows I have Focus Blast. I'm gonna double out into my Primarina, hoping to catch one of those two coming in. And if Chandelure doesn't have Energy Ball, and if Hydreigon doesn't have Z Belch, then they cannot touch my Primarina, which is gonna be really huge in this match because this is actually a rest talk Primarina. So there's not going to be a good way that they're going to be able to beat down my Primarina enough to the point where my Primarina can basically beat Chandelure and Hydreigon 1v1 if they don't have the super effective move to hit my Primarina with. But she ends up making a very aggressive play there, goes for the Earthquake, maybe scouting out to see what I wanted to do with my Reuniclus, which is not a bad play, I suppose, and it did end up working out for her because she puts my Primarina at about 50% HP. As in comes the Empoleon, she then turns out to have the Toxic. The reason why this is so sped up is because this is just a little stally part of the match, and we're both just kind of being stubborn here. She's trying to beat my Primarina knowing that I wall her two biggest offensive threats, and I'm trying to stay in here and get a burn on the Empoleon so I can have an easier time beating it. Plus, because I am Rust Hawk, I don't care about the Toxic. And if I get the burn, I will have a way easier time in this match in general. Empoleon's not going to be as big of a defensive nuisance, and then being able to keep Primarina healthy means that I can still switch it in potentially to the Chandelure or the Hydreigon and the Hippowdon in the back that she still does have. So I will be able to waste my 2 turns of sleep here, but instead of staying in and waking up, because I'm faster than the Empoleon, I expected her to want to go straight for the Toxic just to try to force me to rest again. And ultimately, I think my Primarina would have honestly ended up winning this exchange 1v1 because I was Rest Talk, and again, I just need the burn. That's all I need. It's a 30% chance for me to get the burn, and then from there, I basically just beat Empoleon. But by switching into my Mega Venusaur here, I can try to go for the Synthesis in hopes that she either stays in, or even if she brings in the Hippowdon, I'll still give back some HP, and then I can just go for a Giga Drain the following turn, still kind of keeping my Mega Venusaur somewhat healthy. So she goes for the Scald, does not get a burn, not gonna lie, was really thinking she was gonna get a burn, but Big Bertha out here looking nice and thick, not gonna take anything from the haters, and I will be able to fire off a Giga Drain, which actually ended up doing a bit more damage to the Chandelure than I was expecting, considering that that is a resisted hit. But then again, I am modest max special attack Mega Venusaur, which is actually a really cool set because Mega Venusaur is just such a good tank, man. Like, I really hope this thing stays in UU. I think it may be suspected if I heard correctly from some of my pals, but we'll see how things go for the Mega Venusaur. Much like earlier, I am not messing around with the Chandelure. She went for the Calm Mind. I don't care if she predicts me. Actually, if she stays in predicting me to predict her to switch out, then that's going to be really good for me. But realistically, I was like, this thing's at +1. I'm not U-turning. I can't afford to U-turn. Nothing on my team switches in to a Shadow Ball or a Flamethrower into a Shadow Ball at all. So Dark Pulse was definitely still my best play to make in that scenario. As she brings in the Hippowdon here, I do get lucky and I get the flinch. She told me that she was going to try to go for the Slack Off. I thought that she was going to try to go for the Stealth Rock, so I figured if she wants to get up rocks, then I can at least knock out the Hippowdon. But because I did get the flinch as she went for the Slack Off, I will be able to finish her off the next turn, preventing rocks from being set up on my side of the field. Now, if I didn't get that flinch and she did go for the Slack Off, I could have either stayed in and continued to spam Dark Pulse, or I would have been able to bring in my Primarina or my Mega Venusaur on the Hippo, but then she might have been able to get up rocks on one of the free turns after she went for the Slack Off. So yeah, yeah, it does kind of suck that I did flinch her there, although it does speed up this match a little bit more, and it does put me in a pretty decent position now, as I misclicked by bringing in my Scizor here. What I meant to do was bring in my Reuniclus, because realistically my Reuniclus is not going to be able to calm mind up for free. Like, I still get destroyed by Shadow Ball from Chandelure, and the Dark Pulse from Hydreigon can flinch me or potentially be a 2 KO depending on damage rolls and at how much HP I'm at. So by bringing in my Scizor here, I'm basically forced to sack it off to the Chandelure now, but I still did a decent bit of damage with the Bullet Punch because I was Choice Banded. So what this allows me to do is bring in my Primarina. I'm gonna wake up this turn. Even if she does have the Energy Ball, there's no way she's gonna knock me out because she doesn't have a boost. So I can then in return at least get rid of the Chandelure, but she does make the safe switch back into her Empoleon as I finally get the burn. This was like the 5th or 6th Scald that I went for on this Empoleon, and I'm finally able to burn it. Now, as I said numerous of times earlier, all I really needed was to get the burn on this Empoleon, and this match is going to be so much easier. Plus, at this point, with her Chandelure being weakened, this Empoleon being burned, and the Hydreigon needing to risk switching in on a turn that I don't go for Sludge Bomb, offensive Mega Venusaur right now is the biggest threat that I have for her. And I decide to go for the Sludge Bomb, expecting her to actually bring in Hydreigon, thinking that I would go for the Giga Drain, as she does stay in here and ends up getting a burn in return on my Mega Venusaur, which is still not that big of an issue because I can just freely fire off a Giga Drain this turn. Even if she does bring in the Hydreigon, I'm still going to get off a decent chunk of damage and gain back some type of HP recovery, as she decides just to go for one more Scald. At this point, I'm pretty convinced her only offensive move is Scald, because she Scald, Defog, Toxic. Maybe she has rocks on this as well, potentially Roar even. I'm not sure, because if she had the Flash Cannon, then she definitely would have gone for it by now. But regardless though, I will be able just to go for one more Giga Drain, as I do catch the incoming Hydreigon here. This does a pretty nice little chunk of damage. I really wish that I'd been able to keep up my rocks in this match, or that I didn't lose my Rhyperior so much earlier in this game. Regardless though, I'm not in a bad spot. I can live any hit if this thing is not spec, so I decide to risk it here as she goes for the Fire Blast. I can then go for the Sludge Bomb. I do get a poison, but honestly that poison isn't game changing. It is a double down though at this point, because I don't really need my Mega Venusaur, because Hydreigon is so weakened, because Empoleon and Chandelure are also so weakened that they cannot break through my Primarina. Plus, at this point, I can just bring in my own Scarf Hydreigon, and because she most likely is locked into the Fire Blast, I can bring in a Hydreigon and just start spamming Dark Pulse. So if I didn't get the poison, I would have just brought in my own Hydreigon and clicked one of my stabs and basically ensured a KO. As on the double down, I bring in Hydreigon, she brings in Chandelure, and this is basically game. Hydreigon is just gonna kind of go to town on the rest of her squad here, and down goes the Chandelure. I don't know why the feigning animation for Chandelure just looks so funny, like just drop dead. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being weird. I don't know. Either way though, Empoleon last one here. I get another flinch and or I get another little bit of hacks there. So I got a flinch, a poison, and another flinch here. This flinch definitely didn't matter. I still would have won. The poison on Hydreigon I think didn't matter. The one hacks that did matter in my opinion was the one on Hippowdon. It definitely sped up this match, and it meant that she wasn't able to get up rocks or try to get off more residual damage on my team. And if she had been able to burn my Venusaur while having the Hippowdon in the back, my Mega Venusaur would have been taking 12% every single turn with the sand up. So yeah, the flinch on the Hippowdon did kind of suck, but it is Pokemon. I've been there before, you've been there before, we've all been there before. And hopefully you guys did enjoy the return Wi-Fi battle. If you did, hammer arm that thumbs up button down below. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video guys, I will be uploading Wi-Fi battles way more often. We'll be looking for Wi-Fi battles also a lot more often in my Discord. Come check out the Discord, say hello, say what's up, introduce yourself. If I'm there, I will gladly talk to you. I'm not an asshole like that, but yeah, I'm not an asshole who just ignores people. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and with that being said, I will see you all hopefully tomorrow with another Wi-Fi battle. Definitely tomorrow actually with another Wi-Fi battle. So later everybody.
No matter where you're at, I'm not here to make friends, it's time to attack and deplete your HP with a final smash. Don't make me turn around and pull a 6 foot hacks. 6 foot hacks.
Yeah.
6 foot hacks.
Yeah.
6 foot hacks.